Well, there goes my bracket. Well, Tuesday was like a sad day to be an Action Army fan. Even sadder to do the post-interview. Since, you know, he kind of had to throw the whole brother thing in there, and can't say I blame him on that, but, you know. It's just depressing, okay? For every Action Army guy who basically said Bateman was going to make it all the way in this tournament. I'm just glad I didn't really actually wind up putting out a bracket. I wouldn't have known how the fuck I was supposed to do that anyway. They're just like, here. And I'm like, okay, how the fuck am I supposed to write it in? But anyway. I just don't... I'll figure it out for future tournaments, but, yeah. Till then, I guess for now, I'm usually wind up being glad, because I'm not very good with my bets, because I kind of sort of wasn't with that one, because I had Wildberries. But this one, I was more sure on. And, no. But that was a lot tougher, given, you know, who was involved in the Elite Eight of our round one med picks, and this part two, we'll have that, and I'm just kind of depressed about that Tuesday match, which was a solid match, actually. They actually went neck and neck with this. It was just, it did suck the Bateman thing, but even though I felt like he might as well have just pulled a Naruto out of his ass with that one, and if even he doesn't know about that, and then I'd be like called out as nerd. I'm like, yeah, so what the fuck? But anyway, but that just kind of sucks, because, and he got the 5-pointer, but this wasn't enough. Clark was on her game, and she finally got up. Good for you. But, you know, after Draco's win, that I was expecting McWaney to win, which, honestly, I would have been far more interested in McWaney versus Wolfe at this point. But, instead, we're just basically a Fight Club going at it, and I honestly don't care. I care more about what we're getting at Friday's match, and I hope we don't wind up with an underwhelming match with that. I don't want to wind up saying that the Wolfe and Draco match was the best match. And so here's the thing. I don't hate Fight Club. We're keeping that in. See, I don't hate Fight Club. I don't even hate him a Fife. I have some reasons. I'm just going to leave it at that. Not cause any stir up of problems. It's going to get to a point where I'm going to cave and I'll say what, even though y'all are probably already figuring it out from my hints. But anyway, yeah, I'm fine with Clark. Well, she's great, but you know, Bateman had far more to prove than Clark ever did. She's already got a belt. Bateman's been waiting to get one. And now he's got to wait to hopefully get it at Spectacular, which at this point I'm hoping they do slay, or at least give Shire Wolves enough of a fight, if not beat them. At this point, Ben needs it, and so does Riley. I like Above the Line, but I was more than plenty of pissed that Shire Wolves, Wolves of Steel played the best game they've ever had and wasn't able to pull out a win. Hell, them versus Action would have been an even more interesting match. But we're never going to get that. And you know what, the only thing that pisses me off more about it is that where the fuck was this, Wolf? Why the fuck did you throw that in there for? Against Riley. Are you fucking kidding me? You knew he was planning to retire and he had to keep his word. And yeah, I get the Superman 3 comparison though. But not really enough to kind of justify that such bullshit. I mean, I'm mad about that, but I'm not going to be stupid about it like other people are. Like, other people will just get stupid about it, and I'll defend your ass if I have to. But that whole thing with Riley, which is why I was kind of glad Riley handled things as best as he could in that post-match interview with them. This is just... I don't know if we had any post-credit stuff going on there, or if that was just the whole thing with the Commissioner Bowl thing they're trying to talk about, which is essentially what we're getting instead of the Manager Bowl, which hopefully we're going to get back to the Manager Bowl next season or so. Hopefully things still work out after this season, that it still keeps going. I'm really hoping for that. But I'm just bummed with this one because, like I said, I had Bateman. would have loved to. He had a lot more to prove here, and it sucked that it did just. And plus, it's not helping that the whole Clark Wolfe being the kryptonite for him or something. It's not. It's adding to that, and I'm just hoping that him beating. I feel like him and Riley are the only ones who've never had the tag team belts. Yet alone at least Riley is not, he's had a belt at least, but, Bateman hasn't had that belt. But he's had so many times him and Negrai have always come so damn close, but always somehow it winds up being dealing with Roca. And that's another thing. They've beaten top 10 once. But when the main teams are on a roll or on fire, it's hard to stop those type of teams, especially when they're already a high-level tier type of thing, and that's what Shire Wolves and top 10 were. And that's what sucked, and so was above the line. And they don't have above the line anymore. Top 10's still kind of sort of up in the air. I wouldn't mind if we wind up just getting Founding Fathers at this point, depending on who's the boss does win it out. So I'd be more happy with Founding Fathers continuing as a team as opposed to top 10 at this point. I don't mind top 10 continuing, but if something happens and that just kind of doesn't work out, then fine. Though I would find it kind of interesting. I don't know if Team Trek is going to even continue at this point. I mean, it could still, since Roca and Roca and Mance are sort of on good terms, even though they're not. But we'll see with that. I don't know. I did hear already, just now watching certain things, that at least one of the teams that came out of Anarchy is getting it going to go in, just from recently watching that, though I would be kind of spoiling certain things for people kind of trying to watch what's going on. I don't know how they're going to write it in, given one of the guys that is involved in a certain particular other faction may be having to leave that faction. But anyway, and no, it's not Horseman. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, and Bateman says, "I'm going to Monday beat you." I love how he's being disrespectful about it too, and and he's beaten up about it because his own brother, Bateman has a brother who has a tattoo that says Boehner 8. So even that kind of bummed him out even more when he told him about it, and he got texted like the tattoo on his chest is like, hearing that, yeah, that was rough. That just made it rough, and it just made him more sympathetic, and all of us who are fans of Action got to see that out of them, and that's good, If this moment is at least enough to kind of get some more people on board with Action, then maybe this loss was kind of worth it, and maybe we'll have more people backing them up. Don't get me wrong. I mean, sure, Bobby Gucci / Finstock kind of running the whole thing, running these guys into the champ. That's what makes that rivalry more interesting, I guess. On top of that, the involvement in the Commissioner Bowl, that just adds on, and I think the Commissioner Bowl is going to start there, and they're just going to use that rivalry to add on to top of that, going into the tag team titles, which I think will be, so far, it's the more interesting of matches. I'm not sure going into and of course, this whole tournament being about who's going to face Roca, that's spectacular. And, which is definitely a big deal since he's now officially a 2-time champ, along with Riley, and who has yet to see a tag team belt. And at some point, Murrell's going to have to get a tag team belt. And I know it's also at some point, Riley's going to eventually, I think, be the one player that I think will probably make people actually want to come and see the Star Wars matches. Or at least I'm hoping that he's good enough at Star Wars that he'll be one of those top tier players for it, going into it, that I think that could potentially boost it up, if need be. I can't wait for that. But now speaking of Five Horsemen, Riley versus... Not Riley. Why did I say Riley? Damn it. Well, Riley was involved in the post-interview of this, but anyway. Like, it might as well be a week of Riley, technically, if we're going by pre- and post-interviews at this point. Kind of, sort of. But anyway, it was Murrell versus Stacey Howard. I kind of figured, but not nearly to that extent. But, yeah, I knew just even off of the tag matches. Sure, he lost that, but that was a neck-and-neck match, and it led to sudden death. I'd say Murrell was back. Despite the loss in just one question, which, if the real controversy was the way Broca handled things that made it seem controversial, but really it just left us confused and just agitated, really. Agitated or aggravated or something. Even though the post-interview kind of said enough with that part of things. Even though, yeah, corruption was more in the right, I guess. But, yeah. I get Roka's frustration given how far they went, but aside from... I mean, it sucks no one wants to talk about that match. I still love that. That's probably, as far as I'm concerned, aside from, the round 1 match with Tate Cannoli and Self-Righteous Brothers, this is probably the Corruption and Founding Fathers match was one of the best, if not the best match in Anarchy. Period. As far as I'm concerned, this boss is great, and they've definitely proven themselves through all these matches, because they've gotten, but none of them, aside from maybe their first match, I don't think any other teams, aside from maybe Corruption, really brought anything enough to the table to actually beat them. To beat out who's the boss anyway, which was my second likely team to at least go into the finals, if not Corruption themselves. So that's why it kind of pretty much mattered who was going to win that, because whoever did on that side of that bracket was going to wind up winning it all. And I was right to at least say that as my backup plan, since Wildberries kind of couldn't do the upset. Couldn't bring them Bakuga Magic all the way. Could you, Josh? Kind of still bums me out, but not as much as this Bateman thing, because after Who's the Boss thing, you kind of expect it, and then it's like, it's just sad to be an Action Army guy, but for the week, we're all just hoping that spectacular things will work up for us in there. But anyway, back to the Murrell. I'm still bummed about that, but back to the Murrell Howard thing. I'm not surprised, and a knockout nonetheless. I don't even blame Jay Washington's reaction and kind of sort of giving Viper Squad to come back a little bit with that one. That was kind of funny. Like, who that damn? Just him and his like what about that? It's like, hey, bullshit. Oh, Jay. That's one of those moments where I'm like, oh, Jay. Between that and the Ethan Irwin thing, that was like one of those moments where I was like, national treasure. Him and the one time in the Ethan Irwin match, I think, is when I was like, yeah, national treasure. Yeah, he's a national treasure. He should be. But, yeah. And one of these days, his good managing that he does have somewhere in there is going to show. And so far, it seems it might actually show through big-time Ethan Irwin if he pulls out the win against Murrell. And if he does, a lot of people may consider an upset, but I'm not even sure about that. Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like whoever wins against that matchup is probably going to take it, depending on how that matchup goes. But especially in terms of momentum, I'm really excited for that. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that match for Friday. Looking forward to it. I sort of guess, kind of, hopefully, hoping that we get a solid match between Draco and Wolfe. I know it's a Five Club thing, but, whatever. I love Five Club. Don't get me wrong. I'm part of it too, but, you know, I'm not as everyone else. And Action Army's found a way to win me over a little bit, not to mention the way Guy handled his whole stupid thing with Sprint Mobile, screwing over his mother. That warms my heart how you did that, man. Fist pump moment on that. If you hadn't already, which I've already told you that in the comments on that one, but anyway. Yeah, I'm not expecting too much. I mean, the semifinals are this coming up, and kind of look forward to that, I guess. And that's about it, guys. What did you guys think of the matchups? Were your brackets busted? Who you got for the semifinals? If you're not, at this point, because I know mine is kind of busted at this. Mine technically would be busted, because more so out of certain obligations, I had to have it be, because both my round ones I lost out of both of my round ones in those matches that were taking me all the way, that were going to take me up to there. Yeah, streak was done, but hopefully he might snap back out of it and pull a good win. Yeah, that's about it, guys. What did you think of those matches for part 2 of round 1 of this tournament? Hopefully, despite if your bracket's busted or not, you have some hopefully solid matches, if not fantastic match of the year level quality stuff coming into these semifinals. They have to be, especially given they have to be. They need to be. After my busted bracket, at least it'll be worth it. So, yeah, how far did you make it? And what y'all think? Leave a comment below if you want to about the matches. Let me know. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. Keep it rocking with Schmoedown. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown